Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is the one thing the Clippers are finally doing right. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for, also be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Max online sports community. It's a place where you're going to start basketball discussions, chat live during games, consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, and so many other things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check it out and get 7 days of free access. We have that linked in the description below. So let me get into this topic here. So we know that the Clippers have recently been going through a rough stretch of basketball recently. We know this. They've been very inconsistent, something Kawhi Leonard has said, something the coaches said, something the media said. We've all agreed that the Clippers have been very inconsistent, and they've only won 4 out of their last 10 games that they've played. So they haven't been doing very well. Let's just be honest about it. And they had some really disappointing losses as of late, and many questions have been raised about the team. But over the last 2 to 3 games, the Clippers have been starting to do one thing very, very, very well. The Clippers have been playing better defense as of late. That's something that I've noticed about them. Now, I've been saying all season long that the Clippers have to improve on defense, that they're not a very good defensive team. I've said this all season long, and some people have kind of overlooked it. But to me, the Clippers are not playing great defensively. And there are other teams out west, like the Lakers, that have been doing a better job. So let's talk about the Clippers' defensive stats for a second. The Clippers, as we speak, are allowing 109.3 points per game. I've said that's way too many points for a team that's supposed to be good on defense to be allowing in today's NBA. They're scoring 114 and giving up 109, so the differential is only 5 points. That's a 2 to 3 possession game, and you lose. And that's why so many nights, sometimes games go, you miss a shot here and there, opponent scores, boom, game is over. Because you're not playing a good enough, you're not playing a defense at a high, you're not playing defense at a high level. Giving up 109 points per game you're not a good defensive team. I'm sorry, I don't care about what other metrics they have out there. That is way too many points to be given up to opponents every single night. Opponents against the Clippers are shooting 47% from the field. That's what opponents are shooting. That's close to 50%. That's a very, very high percentage. And opponents are shooting 36.4% from the three-point line against the Clippers. That's inexcusable. The Lakers, on the other hand, that's why some people give the Lakers the edge, and that's why I said the Lakers are probably in a better position to win the title because they play better defense. The Lakers are giving 104 points per game to opponents. Opponents are shooting 45.3% from the field, and the Lakers are doing a much better job defending the three-point line, allowing opponents to shoot 35.3% from the free throw line, from the three-point line. So overall, the Lakers are a better team, and the Clippers needed to improve on their defense, given the fact that they have a lot of great individual defensive players. If you think about Patrick Beverley, you think about Paul George, you think about Marcus Morris, you think about Kawhi Leonard, you think about Nicholas Batum, you think about Serge Ibaka. Most of these guys I've mentioned have made all defensive teams. One of them has led the league, had 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. So they have great individual defenders, and then not to mention the guys off the bench like Terrence Mann. So they have good individual defenders, but they don't play defense very well as a team collectively. I don't know if it has something to do with laziness. I don't know if it's because they have the wrong habit. They have bad habits. I don't know what it is, but overall, the team has not been playing great defense. Let's just face it. There are no two ways about it. And when 2 years ago or a year ago, when they initially put the team together, one of the things a lot of us fantasized about was we thought that the Clippers are going to be a very good defensive team. When you thought about Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George spearheading your defense, we thought that this team was going to be an exceptional defensive team, and they just weren't. Now, they've shown flashes, but overall, they haven't been good enough on the defensive side of the floor. Right? And the Lakers defend better than the Clippers, although the Clippers score more than the Lakers. But I think defense is something you can hang your hat on every single night. Right? If you play defense, you give yourself a shot every single night. The Brooklyn Nets, they just have a completely different philosophy. They're just going to blow the doors off of you. And there are very few teams in the NBA that can score like the Brooklyn Nets. But over the last 3 games, the Clippers have improved defensively. They have been improving defensively, right? In the last 3 games, they held the Dallas Mavericks in a win to 99 points. That's very good. That's a huge improvement if you compare what they've been doing as a season on average. Then another game that they played against the Mavs, they held them to 105 points. Right now, some people may say, well, they lost. Yeah, but defensively they played much better. Anyone with 2 eyeballs can see that. Had they made more shots, they would have had a better chance in winning that game, right? They would have had a better chance winning that game. And then they just won a game last night against the New Orleans Hornets, where they held them to 98 points. Now, some people will say, well, the New Orleans Lakers beat them 2 nights ago and they played this. Because usually Laker fans will do this. Usually. Listen, I don't even want to get into that because I don't understand why some people do what they do, to be quite honest with you. Now, if we look at that game that they lost to the Dallas Mavericks, where Luka Doncic went off for 42 points, a lot of people forget that Luka Doncic was the only player in that game that scored 20 plus points. He was the only one. Other players were at 17, 15. So they played great team defense. Luka was the only guy that went off. And he was their best option. And sometimes guys are going to have nights. Luka Doncic went off, but they played much better defense overall. And it seems like their defense is beginning to improve. And listen, if the Clippers play good on defense, that's something that they can rely on every single night. You can rely on your defense because you're not going to be able to make shots every single night. No team is going to be hot every single night, given the fact that the Clippers are pretty much a jump shooting team primarily, although they have players that can attack the basket like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but primarily the Clippers are a jump shooting team. They're the number 1 team in the NBA in 3-point percentage for a reason. It means they can shoot threes, but sometimes those 3-pointers are not going to go down. And when you're not hitting your threes, you need to at least be able to allow your defense to keep you in games and muddy up the games, dirty up the games. When you play defense, you can really throw teams out of their rhythm, right? If you can play defense for 48 minutes, you can throw teams out of their rhythm. You can make the game scrappy, and then you can claw your way to wins, because some nights you're just not going to hit shots. If you look at the game that they had against the New Orleans Hornets last night, yeah, they won, but they were hitting their threes. That was a fundamental difference. It's one thing if they held the Hornets to 98 points, but they themselves had a very difficult time generating offense, then that game would have been a lot closer. It's just that they were making their shots. They were hitting their threes, and the guys were contributing from everyone on the court. Marcus Morris, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Lou Williams, everybody was chipping in, and it was a team win. But they need to continue to work on their defense because they have the personnel to do so. They have players that are great individual defenders, that are very talented on the defensive side of the floor, and they need to keep playing defense. It is crucial for this team's success because it's something that other great teams are doing, like the Lakers. No matter what, some people may say the Lakers don't score enough, but their defense allows them to be competitive every single night. And they're a great defensive team, and their coach, Frank Vogel, has hammered down, has really nailed down, or whatever it is, engraved the defensive principles into his team, and that's why they play defense every single night. And for me, I think the Clippers need to keep it up. Now, it remains to be seen if they will. This team has a thing of being very inconsistent. They may decide to play defense for the next 3 to 4 games, and in the next 3 games, just give up like 120 plus points each. It could happen. So we don't know, but let's see if they can keep it up. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Clippers are finally starting to play better defense, or do you think, listen, it's just a flash in the pan? No way in hell they're going to keep it up because this team is very, very inconsistent. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up on the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day, and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.